So, Chris, we're already almost a quarter through the season. We've had some injuries, some comebacks, and some really huge blowouts this past week. And we're going to go ahead and talk about our predictions for week 4 here on this edition of Commanding Caws.
So we did have some interesting games from this week. The Dolphins really looked like they need some offensive help. They didn't really do enough to the Broncos, I think.
They should have kicked a field goal, and
They
then they
should
would have
have.
done better.
Yeah, they played amazing. Cardinals upset the Cowboys. I'm sure you're pretty happy about that, good sir.
We'll talk about that here in a minute. But yeah, let's go ahead then, and we'll talk about just a quick recap of week 3, starting with the Giants 49ers. There were some games this past week that went exactly how we thought they would. There were some games that were very surprising, to say the least. Currently, I am at 27 correct and 21 wrong. You're at 30 and 18. So let's recap from last week. The Giants, 49ers walked away with that, no issues.
Yeah, then you had the Dolphins blowout there as well. We both
We
picked
want to.
that.
I was going to say, I expected the Dolphins to win, but the Broncos didn't play terribly. They got 20 points, but it's just, I guess everything I'm hearing is that the defense is just awful. And honestly, I think they're just stuck in purgatory right now with Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. They're just, nothing's happening.
You know what's funny?
They're stuck.
They are. And I remember some Broncos fans being a little upset with the way that I was rating them in the beginning of the year. Not to say I told you so. I didn't think that Sean was going to do that good, to be 100% honest with you. He had been out of it. He's an older coach. He has older coaching techniques. I literally think it's coaching that's the issue, as well as not having a great roster. On top of that, he shouldn't have talked as much talk as he talked. Personally, that's my own opinion there. And should have worked on rebuilding and just gone to this year as a rebuilding year versus trying to act like they were going to come into it and be perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Broncos' problem the last couple of years has been their overconfidence.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much. You look up a sports YouTuber or even a sports commentator on like ESPN or anything, everyone's already talked about it. So my whole 2 cents is not really going to be anything any different other than just, again, I feel like the Broncos right now just need to take a step back and just realize they're going to suck for a few years and just kind of rebuild. I don't know if Russell Wilson's the guy.
Yep, I 100% agree with you on that.
But moving into more, I guess, positive territory, the Patriots beat the Jets, which, man, the Jets are the story of what could have been this year.
Yeah, it's really upsetting to see the Jets. They crashed and burned like the Denver Broncos did last year in a very not really a similar way, but in a very disappointing way, similar to the Broncos last year. You get that key piece at quarterback, and it just doesn't work out, and it's pretty upsetting.
I was looking here because I believe, okay, yeah, Chad Henne, the former backup for Patrick Mahomes, apparently was reached out to by the Jets to play, and he declined. So they can't catch a break anyway right now because Zach Wilson, he's not going to play a full season.
No, not with that offensive line. That offensive line is going to hurt that kid.
And it's unfortunate because Sauce Gardner has talent, Garrett Wilson, Randall Cobb.
C.J. Mosley. They got a good squad.
It's unfortunate. Is it coaching, too? It's not really coaching. It's just they brought in Nathaniel Hackett for Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers isn't there anymore.
And with this next one, we actually had 2 games in a row where AFC South teams disappointed us. We had the Jaguars against the Texans, and then we had the Titans against the Browns. When it comes to the Texans and Jaguars game, kind of could have gone anyway. Jacksonville's kind of struggling this year, it seems like. I think that they will catch stride probably here soon. If they don't by this week, I would be a little bit worried as a Jaguars fan because they definitely should be getting up to the pace and seeing how that offense is. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback, so everything should start to pan out for him. So I wouldn't hit the panic button yet, but it's coming. And then when it comes to the Titans and Browns, that was a defensive slugfest by the Browns there. They really put a hampering on the Titans scoring at all. It was 3. We said that there was a good chance that they could have lost. You did pick the Browns initially, and then I swayed you. So my sway helped me out at the same time.
Well, you only had to be by 3. It would have been only 2, but still. But No, I agree with the Jags. I'm not going to worry until like week 6 or 7, maybe, if I'm a Jags fan. But I agree with everything you said there. When it comes to the Browns and Titans, though, the loss of Nick Chubb is really hurting the Browns because, I mean, it's still early in the season, but Deshaun Watson is not doing that well overall.
He did pretty good that game.
I don't think he's going to be the reason they make the playoffs if they do.
That defense is.
Myles Garrett, yeah. But yeah, those were both games that we picked wrong. We both correctly predicted the Lions would beat the Falcons, give the Falcons the first L on the year to the Lions. That's funny. We split on the Packers and Saints, which I would have been the winner here had it not been for a fourth quarter comeback, but you know.
Yes, thank you, Jordan Love.
But moving on to this next game, Chris, the best way I can describe this game is that I picked with my heart, and I can only quote Squidward in saying that the Bills took my one shot at happiness and crushed it. Crushed it into tiny little bite-sized pieces. And to the Commanders, I say, I really expected more from you. I guess that makes me a loser for thinking that too. So thanks. Thanks for nothing.
Yeah, the Bills did put up 9 sacks on Mr. Sam Howell there. That's pretty disappointing.
I mean, I'm saying that quote from SpongeBob jokingly, but thing is, Sam Howell, he's going to lose games. That was like his, what, fourth or fifth start.
Yeah.
And again, it comes down to our offensive line is just terrible. It's not so much that the Bills' offense was amazing. It's just their defense was really taking advantage of our meager offense. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
Bills definitely capitalized on some of the different miscues and stuff like that. I think Commanders will bounce back though, so I wouldn't be I wouldn't fret too early.
Yeah, we'll talk about that Commanders game here coming up. But
And then we had two teams. I don't know why it's got to be in teams of two, but we got two teams here in purple that both disappointed us. We'll talk about the Vikings first. We actually said that this was two teams basically looking in a mirror at each other. We were kind of hinting at that. So it doesn't really shock me that the Chargers won and the Vikings chargered, if you would.
yes.
But the Ravens and Colts, it does not shock me. I don't think I mentioned it last game. I might have mentioned it off camera. Our last video. I thought the Colts could be a trap game, and it ended up being one. The conditions were bad. Lamar kept fumbling. We're using Melvin Gordon. There's issues everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, basically a third of the team is just on IR right now.
We did
So,
get a couple returns that'll be back this upcoming week, though, so that'll help out. But
what's going on with OBJ? Because
I don't know.
Zay Flowers needs to be healthy because right now he's the best receiver besides Mark Andrews.
Yeah, they need to keep Zay Flowers healthy and continue to feed him the ball.
Absolutely. If Lamar goes out, then the season's done.
Him or if Roquan go out, because Roquan, I've been watching the interviews with him after games and stuff. That man speaks with a lot of passion. I appreciate him. He's probably my favorite defensive player on the team. He speaks with a lot of passion. He does not take that stuff lightly. So I look for the defense to just try to prove they're number one against Cleveland. So that'll be pretty good.
We then both predicted the Seahawks would beat the Panthers, which I don't think there was really any doubt. And then there was certainly no doubt that the Chiefs would beat the Bears. Was that game? I think the headline from that game was that Taylor Swift was there to cheer on her new boyfriend, and that was it.
Did you know that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are a couple?
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Like, that's all they kept talking about. There's not really much to talk about that Chiefs-Bears game. It was so bad
that made more headlines
off.
than the actual game. Yeah,
It did. Then we had... You know what? I don't even think I should mention this one. Take it away. What is that? But we both have an L there, but what team lost?
So, this was a little shocking to me in that the Cowboys are good against really bad teams. When they start playing actual teams, that's when they begin to falter. This was a pleasant surprise. As I was watching the game, I was depressed from the Commanders game, and as it was going on, I'm looking at the score, and I'm not saying anything to my wife, who is a diehard, Redskins Commanders fan and hates the Cowboys. And I'm not saying a word until I get the final score, and finally, I'm like, okay, I'm good. That makes up for it. It's like the difference between Washington and Dallas is we know we're bad. Like, everything that happens to this team, we're pleasantly surprised. We don't prance around saying how awesome we are every single year. And it's always wonderful to have the Cowboys shut up and then Stephen A. Smith make fun of them on ESPN. Like, I know a lot of people hate Stephen A. Smith. Your criticisms are valid. I love the guy purely just for that.
No, that's
Just for
fair.
that.
That's 100% fair. It's really funny you mentioned that about the Cowboys because I was talking to an Eagles fan literally 2 hours ago, and he was talking to me about how the Cowboys always parade around that, oh, we them boys, it's our year. So he posted on Facebook, we them boys, after that loss happened.
Yep, yep. It's funny because they lost to what's his name, Josh Dobbs, and like I was watching the Shannon Sharp, the Stephen A. Smith segment on it, and he was like, apparently Josh Dobbs like was filling out an application for Amazon before the Cardinals picked him up, and like I don't know if that's true or not, but I would believe it. That guy, ugh. But
Yeah, Dobbs is
again,
wild because he was the Steelers' backup for years, if I remember correctly, and he was pretty decent as a Steelers' backup.
well, and I will say this too. The defense is still like top five, if not top 10 in the league for the Cowboys. Like Michael Parsons, again, he might win MVP, and I'd probably say that's well deserved. But the thing is, their offense just isn't that good. I don't think it's ever really been elite. I don't think Dak Prescott is the guy. I don't hate the player. I hate the game. I don't hate specific Cowboys players. Who's the guy that just got out for the season for the Cowboys?
Diggs.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs,
Oh, no,
right?
no, no, that's wide receiver. Trayvon Diggs, I think
Okay.
is his name.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, Trayvon Diggs. I don't know if his absence was really that much of a difference maker there, but again, I think it's just the offense is overshadowed by their defense. Like that New York game was a lot of it was just because the defense were just showing up the Giants.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, so again, if they make the playoffs, I don't see them going anywhere past the divisional round, if they even make it there. But it's early in the season. We'll see what happens. But moving forward to the Steelers Raiders game, we both said the Raiders would win. I think because the offense for the Steelers is just so finicky. Obviously, the defense of the Steelers is still maybe a top 10, if not top 5. But again, offense wins games. Good defense is good. A good defense is very helpful. But again, you got to score points to win.
Yeah, that's precisely it. Yeah, I would say Steelers defense top 5, Raiders defense pretty good as well. I really think that if the Steelers start clicking on offense, they could be a scary team.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, the AFC North is kind of anyone's division as far as I can tell.
It's a bloodbath. They are taking each other out left and right. So
Yeah.
it's just going to be who's the last man standing at the end. To be, I mean, I know one or two teams will probably make it from the AFC North into the wild card, but for the division winner, it's going to be whoever the last man standing is. The best way to put it, I think.
When like I think it'll come down to like week 15 or 16, but if not the last week. I was thinking in the back of my mind maybe the Bucks could pull this off because they've been doing well, but I was wrong. It's okay. I think honestly the Eagles are probably going to win the NFC East again, which would be the first time we've had a repeat in like almost 20 years of the winner. But don't really want to talk too much about that game unless you have something else to say.
Oh no, Mike Evans was kind of locked up that game. It kind of seemed like to me. I know he still had like a decent amount of like yards and stuff like that, but he
And
didn't
Jalen
like.
Carter's a beast.
Yeah, he's the most. I think he has the most interior pressure or something like that for defensive line. It's wild.
Yeah.
And then we disagreed on this one, but I could have saw this game going either way. Rams and Bengals. It was a pretty decent game. I watched it, then I fell asleep during it because I'm old.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the Bengals walked away with it. Not really too much to say there. I still think the Bengals offense looks terrible.
I didn't watch this game, long story short. But yeah, I don't know. I think I was watching something on YouTube. It might have been Colin Cowherd, which I'm not a huge fan of that guy with recent stuff. I'll just say that. But yeah, I think he said like the offense is Joe Burrow's calf. So I'm like, yeah, that's valid. But anyway, I'm 27-21, you're 30-18, so currently you got a 3-point edge over me. If we want to do what we did last week, I have 3 teams I want to mention with an asterisk, and I have 3 teams I want to mention with an exclamation point, unless you want to talk about some teams real quick.
Only team I want to talk about that I'll throw it out there is kind of harp on the Ravens here really quick. So 2 teams that I really think need to get their stuff together are the Ravens and the Bengals. Just kind of want to go back to that a little bit. Bengals need to see what's going on there, and if Joe Burrow is hurt, do not play him. Do not risk your star quarterback for I would rather see competitive great football than see Joe Burrow get injured and have another major injury this year. I think that would be preferred. Um,
I mean,
I
the Bengals, they're playing the Titans next and the Cardinals. Those are two games you could sit Joe Burrow and let him rest.
That's kind of my mindset. The Titans will be a tough one. Like it'll be a boring, like probably like 19-17 game or something like that. Very defensive. It's just the Bengals have good defense. They probably have a top 10, top 15 defense, and their offense is like lights out usually, but they haven't been playing well. Now, when it comes to the Ravens, I don't know what's going on with the offensive scheming, stuff like that. I think the defense looks great. I think the Ravens' defense is a top 10. I think the AFC North in general just has really good defense, which is obvious. But I think the Ravens are a top 10 defense. I think they could be better than what they are currently once they get everybody back off of IR. um, but the offense has really been struggling. And, you would thought they would have struggled more against Cincinnati than they did the Colts. Maybe the Colts are better than what we're giving them credit for, but the Ravens really need to start kind of leaning into Lamar's strengths and not trying to be someone they're not and just play the game of football. Don't make mistakes. Just get in there and get out.
Is it the new OC or is it just the injuries or whatever hurting the Ravens? But and again, they didn't even play Anthony Richardson. It was Gardner Minshew. But yeah, three teams I just want to mention with an asterisk because obviously the Cowboys, I've gone into them, but again, I think they live and die with that defense, and their offense just isn't up to snuff. The Jags, again, I'm holding reservations for another few weeks, but they are kind of disappointing me this season so far. The Saints, I think with Derek Carr out, they're going to struggle. We'll see what happens there. But some teams to mention with kind of an exclamation point. I mean, the Cardinals, everyone thought they'd be tanking. They're not. I mean, they've been competitive in the games they're playing, even if they lose.
What if they were just like, we really want to beat the Cowboys? Just let's be the ones to shut them up.
Honestly, well, and I'll even say this too, as a team to mention with an asterisk. I'm gonna eat my words on the Bears. I thought they were gonna be a lot better than they were. I'm gonna eat my words on the Bears. They are performing way less than I expected of them. I don't know why. I thought they were gonna do better, but you know what? I'll just go ahead and eat my words on the Bears. But it's okay because we had people saying that the Broncos were going to do great this year.
Yeah.
And then Bills, they're coming back. But again, I have some reservations, but, I'm excited to see what they can do. And then the Bengals, again, they won. They were not 0-3, so worth pointing out. We'll see what happens with them. But let's go ahead then. We'll get into our predictions for next week. So first game on the docket, we got tomorrow, Green Bay against Detroit, which any other year I'd easily pick Green Bay, but what are you thinking here?
I'm thinking of going with the Detroit Lions. I think this is going to be a really good game. I am hoping for a really good Thursday night football game and not one of these bad, boring games that we've had in the past. This is going to be a really cool NFC North showdown. It would not shock me if the Packers walk away. They're supposed to be having some people come back off of injury. I just think the Lions are going to run through a brick wall, so I still am going to stick with them.
Yep. Right now, I think the Lions just have more fire, so I think that'll be enough. Now, this next game, we are differing on primarily. Something in the back of my mind tells me that maybe Atlanta's defense might just be a little edging out a little bit. I'm probably going to be wrong, but I'm going to pick the Falcons just because, again, the Jaguars have been like, if you had asked me this like last week, I would have said the Jags no problem. But I don't know. The Jags are kind of disappointing me, so I want to see what happens because they're actually 1-2. I didn't remember that, and yeah, Falcons are 2-1.
So the only reason I'm picking the Jaguars here is because they are actual home this week. They are going to be in London. So I look for them to come back and beat the Falcons and probably have a bounce back game. But I 100% agree with your points on the Falcons there because the Falcons have a great run game and they could run through that Jaguars defense.
Yeah, apparently people are asking why didn't they run Bijan. I think they're going to use Bijan this week more, hopefully.
Oh, yes.
Which this is apparently, I don't understand how this is going to work, but it's going to be on Disney Plus or whatever. It's like they're going to Toy Story the game.
I want to see how that is, so let me know how that goes. I'm pretty sure I'll see stuff on YouTube and TikTok, but
I just have no idea. Like the whole concept to me is just like confusing. Like, I get it, it's football, but like, why in Toy Story? I don't understand that.
Someone's gonna get hurt. They're gonna show like that kid torturing the dolls.
Right, or like stuffing's gonna come out of one of the limbs or something.
It'll be like a serious injury, and it's gonna be like the time like with the whole thing with Damar Hamlin where he got hurt and everything, and they cut away to the freaking Burger King commercial.
At any rate, I do not want other people to get hurt, but
No, me
you know,
either.
yeah, we're just anyway. Uh, who you got? Dolphins, Bills.
Dolphins, Bills. I have the Bills. The Dolphins. I see Buffalo's favored, but the Dolphins should honestly win this game. I just think the Bills are going to win at home. Personally, that's the only reason why I'm really going with them here. I look for them to start kind of figuring it out because they're another team that's been slightly disappointing this year compared to years past. But let's see if the Dolphins put up a 70 burger on the Bills.
So I mean, the Dolphins were at home. Well, okay, the Dolphins were at home against the Broncos. They beat the Patriots in New England. It's getting colder now. I don't know if that's a factor, really. They beat the Chargers in LA, so again, the weather's pretty similar. If they lose in Buffalo, I could see it, but right now, I think just with their performance last week, I kind of feel like I have to go with the Dolphins here.
Nope, that's absolutely fair to be 100% honest with you.
But who you got? Ravens Browns. They're playing in Cleveland.
Cleveland's favored. I'm never going to pick Cleveland to beat the Ravens, so we are going with the Baltimore Ravens on this. Do I think the Ravens will actually win? Yes. Do I think Cleveland's defense is probably going to end up making Cleveland edge them out? Yeah, it's what I think is going to happen. Heart's going to tell
Well,
me to go with Baltimore Ravens, though.
I mean, they're pretty neck and neck. They're both averaging about 23, 24 points a game. They're averaging about the same yards per game. Baltimore's at 348. Browns are at 366. The opponent's points per game, though, that I'm seeing is, I mean, the Ravens are allowing more points and more yards than the Browns. The Browns have more. The Browns have more turnovers, though. They have about the same amount of penalties. I don't know. I mean, injuries, I think, will be an issue. I think because it's at home, the Browns have a chance, but I'm kind of with you. I cannot root for the Browns in good conscience. So,
So you're
go
going with the
Ravens. Go
Baltimore
Ravens.
Ravens? All right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I also just
Oh,
think Lamar is just better than Deshaun,
I do too,
honestly.
personally. He looked really good last game. Deshaun looked better in his most recent game than Lamar looked in his most recent game, but I'll take that with a grain of salt because I think Lamar's a better quarterback overall. One thing I am going to say is who is ready for this competitive matchup right here? This is going to be the Super Bowl preview.
The Broncos' problems have been primarily defensive. The Bears' problems are kind of just all around. It's like everything is the problem. I
Yeah,
really feel bad for Justin Fields. I don't think it's his fault.
I don't think it's fault either. I think he's being like he's being failed. Like the organization is failing him. They got DJ Moore. I thought DJ Moore was going to have a heck of a season, to be 100% honest with you.
Yeah.
Um, just with going there, I thought, like, oh, yeah, he's got number one receiver now. He's going to do great. Yeah. It's sad when you're still favored to win after getting 70 points dropped on you.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like one of these teams is going to come back. Obviously, someone has to win, but what if we get a tie?
That would be hilarious.
I'm going to then pick the Steelers over the Texans. The Steelers, I just think that defense is too good. I think CJ Stroud is still learning. I mean, D'Amico Ryan is a defensive coach. Obviously, Mike Tomlin's got more experience at the head coaching position. I don't know. I mean, they're in Houston, but I'm still just going to go with the Steelers on this one.
Pittsburgh's favored. I do agree with you, but I am actually going to go with the Houston Texans on this one. I'm going to be picking them because CJ Stroud's been playing his heart out, to be 100% honest with you. Looks like the best quarterback that was taken in the draft, which is exactly what you want. Defense looks pretty great as well, which you kind of expected that. I actually think the AFC South might be a little bit more competitive than we thought in the past what it was going to be. So I'm going to go with the Houston Texans on this. Steelers still have an amazing defense, and they'll probably pull this out because it's Mike Tomlin, but I'm still going with Houston.
Gotcha. Yeah, I agree. I just think the Steelers defense is the defining factor here. We'll see. But then the Rams and the Colts. I'm going Rams. I think the talent is there, but if the Colts upset, I wouldn't be surprised. But just the Rams are doing a lot better than we thought they would be at this point. Like honestly, if you would ask me like a month ago, it would have been a toss up. But right now, I feel pretty confident the Rams would pull this off. Maybe by a point. I mean, I don't know how much they're favored by. Actually, I don't. It doesn't look like anybody's favored, but I don't know. I'm still gonna go Rams.
Yeah, it looks like the Colts might be favored by a little bit. I look for the Rams to win here as well. The Colts definitely are a great team. They showed that against the Ravens, but I also think the Ravens played down to competition, and I think the Rams are a better squad. I think Puka and Tutu are going to put up a ton of fantasy points, and I look for the Rams to bounce back this week.
I just think the Rams roster is more talented. But if the Colts win, I'm not going to cry. Well, I might, but uh, just because I might have to make a Cowboys video. But then the Bucks and the Saints. This again, like a month ago, if you would ask me, I would have said the Saints would have steamrolled. But I don't know. What do you think?
So, like you're saying, this game here going to be kind of tough to call. I want to say the Buccaneers are going to win. Something's telling me to pick the Saints. But how long is that injury going to be with Derek Carr?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a defining factor. I think that the Bucks are going to bounce back. That's primarily what made me choose them here.
I think I'm going to agree with you, and I think I'm going with the Buccaneers as well.
Okay. Okay, so Commanders at Eagles.
Oh
I'm
boy.
picking the Eagles because I don't want to make the same mistake as last week, but stranger things have happened. I mean, it's in Philly, and let's just put it like this: when we had the fourth turnover against the Bills, I turned the game off. So as soon as we get to that point, I'm probably going to turn it off too.
So, same conversation I was having with that Eagles fan. He mentions to me how when I used to do these picks, every time I pick against the Eagles win. So we're going with the Philadelphia Eagles here to hope for an upset for the Commanders, but also because I think the Eagles are the better squad personally. But it would be pretty cool to see the Commanders upset them. It'd be really weird at the same time, and then I'd be like, "What is football? Who is the best team?" But yeah, I could totally see the Philadelphia Eagles just going in there and just stomping the Commanders.
Oh yeah. Who you got for Bengals Titans?
Bengals Titans. I'm going to be picking the Cincinnati Bengals. I kind of wanted to go with the Titans, but when you only put up 3 points, I know that they don't have the same defense that the Browns do, but I think Cincinnati has a better defense. I can't pick against Joe Burrow. If he was benched, I would pick the Titans, but I'm going with the Bengals.
Okay. Yeah, same kind of logic as well. I think the talent is just there on the Bengals, and they just got off to a slow start. So yeah. But this next game is going to be interesting because they're both 0-3, the Panthers and the Vikings. I feel like who's going to just throw away this game more? It says Minnesota is favored to win. They're playing in Carolina. Honestly, probably going to go Vikings here.
I'm definitely going Vikings here. I
Okay.
personally think the Vikings are the better squad. I think they have a better offense. Kirk Cousins has been playing really well, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I
Just in
thought I
terms
saw a
of
stat earlier that
stats,
he's like got the most passing yards overall this season so
probably
far.
he's been
Yeah.
he's been doing really well. His team's just been letting him down, to be 100% honest. The
Yeah.
Panthers, they're still rebuilding. I don't think they're ready yet. We were all talking about, even other sports analysts I was listening to were talking about how, I guess actual sports analysts, not YouTubers, we're talking about how the Panthers could be an upset dark horse this year. It's not looking that way so far, so I think I'm going with the Vikings on this one.
What happens then if the Panthers, let's just say they get the first overall pick again? They don't go Caleb Williams there. Maybe they do. I mean, if
They gotta trade
Chicago,
it.
okay, I was going to say if Chicago gets the pick, they're going to go Caleb Williams. But I feel like the Panthers, yeah, you probably trade because there's no way they pick a wide receiver first overall because that's kind of what they need right now.
No, unless they decide to, which would be wild. Um, I mean, we are seeing the league kind of develop where if you don't have that star wide receiver, you don't have a good squad. You got Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill.
Well, I'm glad that you brought up Devontae Adams because the Raiders are 1-2.
Raiders are 1-2. Devontae Adams still had a heck of a game for himself, and I don't care about that because I'm going with the San Diego Chargers. I know they're LA, but I just had to call them San Diego Chargers.
I don't know. I picked the Raiders for this one, and I just think that the Chargers somehow are going to either completely mess this up or they're going to find a way to make this work. And my initial reaction is they're going to probably find a way to mess this up. I feel like Jimmy G versus Justin Herbert. I don't know. I mean, they're both talented teams, but honestly, flip of the coin, I'm going Raiders here.
No, that's fair. It's fair to assume the Chargers are going to charge her, to be 100% honest with you.
Pretty sure that's an actual thing in the dictionary now.
It's got to be.
Yeah. Cowboys and Patriots, again, like on paper, it's the Cowboys, but I would not be surprised if the Patriots take the W here. But just for the sake of, being the smart better here, I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys as well. Like you were saying, I could totally see the Patriots actually doing an upset here. I think the Cowboys are going to be a little angry, a little upset, a little embarrassed, and they're going to probably honestly try to embarrass the Patriots at home. They're
I can see
probably
it.
going to, because they're going to be in Jerry's world. I think they're going to try to do as much as they can to make themselves be like, hey, we're still here. We're still one of the better teams in the NFC. So I'm going with Dallas.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I honestly, I heard a rumor. I don't even know if this is legit or not, but like people are thinking Belichick might get fired from the Patriots, so watch him go to either the Chargers or the Cowboys because Mike McCarthy, I don't know why they picked him, probably because Sean Payton wasn't available, but who knows? Cardinals, 49ers, without even, we both picked the 49ers, right?
Yeah, we definitely both picked the 49ers.
All
Cardinals could
right.
put up a fight, though. If they put up fights against all the other teams, it's going to be an interesting matchup because the Cardinals put up a fight against the 49ers. I'm going to be looking at the Cardinals a little bit different. I'm going to be like, you're definitely tanking, aren't you? Because
I
there's
mean,
no
the thing
way.
is, right now, if you made me guess the Super Bowl here coming up on week 4, I'm going to say 49ers Dolphins.
I mean, that's who deserves it so far out of the way all of those teams have been playing.
Yeah. But yeah, again, just on paper, 49ers going to go 49ers, which again, same argument with the next one, the Chiefs of the Jets.
Going with the Jets, obviously, best team in the league. No,
Absolutely.
got to go with the Kansas City Chiefs there. This would have been a great game with Aaron Rodgers. Everyone's gonna be talking about
The State
the
Farm Bowl.
the State
Yep.
Farm Bowl, Rodgers versus Mahomes, but it's not. It's Zach Wilson and Patrick Mahomes, and logic tells me, and my heart, and everything, Patrick Mahomes is probably gonna light up that defense.
Yep. I mean, what else is there to say? The only other comment I would say is what if you took like, Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson and Randall Cobb and all these like star players on the Jets and combine them with the Chiefs because the Chiefs need a wide receiver right now. And I mean, what's his name? Chris Jones is there for another year, I guess. But honestly, like if you combine these two teams like for to fit each other's needs, you'd have like
The ultimate squad.
yes, like the best team ever.
I
But
100% agree with that.
Seahawks Giants. I mean, the Giants could pull off a upset here, but actually, no, New York is favored to win. What the heck?
Yeah, they are. I didn't even notice that myself. Yeah, I totally think the Seahawks are still going to win this though. Um, because they're favored to win, I am tempted to switch to the Giants, but I just don't see the Giants winning this. I don't. I'm not a Daniel Jones believer, so I'm going to go with the
I mean,
Seattle Seahawks.
the Seahawks are 2-1. That first week they were playing the Rams, and that was just I think the Rams were hungry. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, they beat the Lions, which was interesting, and obviously it went to overtime. But yeah, I mean, hey, gotta kind of go with your mind on this one, your brain. So.
Got to.
Yeah. But everyone, yeah, in case you've been wondering why we're talking about this again, we're doing a competition to see who can correctly guess the most games this year. Winner and loser will be decided. There's going to be a winning prize, and a loser has to do something. So stick around to watch us do that. And then, yeah, Chris, you can go ahead and send us off here.
But I just want to say thank you guys for liking the video if you did, commenting if you did, and subscribing as well. You guys are amazing. And Dan, what else you got?
Well, I just wanted to say, as a last little note, I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot more green this week. I'm probably going to eat my words, knock on wood, but I feel like some of these games are just so easy to predict. So we're going to have, I think, a better week than last week, or at least I will.
I'm hoping we do. I'm hoping I have a better week than you, though. But I hope you have a great week as well. And I hope everyone watching this video also has a great weekend. And I hope your football team wins unless they're going against the Washington Commanders or the Baltimore Ravens.
Thank you, everyone. You take care.
Peace.